Hey everyone, welcome back. It is me, Rob, and unfortunately, over the past few months, I have been very busy. The shop has been very busy, and I haven't really had much time to myself to kind of, experiment and go off and do some fun things, and that really bummed me out. So I was able to get some time to myself this weekend, and I decided to, just jump on VCarve and, experiment with something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and that is, putting, 3D geometric patterns and on like MDF or something for like doors or drawer fronts. And I know that there is many of folk out there that are very good at this kind of stuff, but unfortunately, in my case, I'm in a mostly production level environment, and so I just don't get much time. And then when I do have a little time, I don't have the machines because they're just running constantly. So had a little time, the machines weren't running, and so I thought I would get on VCarve and experiment with just some MDF doors and putting some shapes in these doors. I'm going to kind of show you what I did and kind of how I got to this point. So I'm by no means an expert, because I don't get much time to do this. So, maybe for more newer people out there, just to see kind of like, what I'm doing here. But anyway, before I show you here in VCarve what I did, I'll show you a quick video of a test part that I ran on my router. And I'll throw it up on the screen now, and you can kind of see that, for the most part, it turned out pretty good. I'm using 3/4 inch MDF. So, I wanted to kind of stick with material that I had. I could have probably glued two pieces, together, and I can get more fancy down the road. But I was like, I'm just going to experiment with what I have. And then what I did to make this happen is I bought this Vortex ball nose bit. I think it's a quarter inch ball nose, and I'll throw the number on Vortex tool here because I really had no idea. I literally, I've used Vortex before. I'm not, it's just somewhere that I Googled ball nose, and I kind of bought the cheapest one that I saw that I thought would work. So nothing scientific about it, but I think overall it turned out pretty good. So it at least it gives me, confidence that I can do some experimentation and come up with something cool. So in the future, that's what I'm going to do. But in this video, let's take a look at how I got to this point. And I'm using VCarve Pro version 11.5. So if you can take a look here, I've got two doors or two slabs of MDF, and it's got that triangular pattern. It is three-dimensional. If we go to 2D view, this is kind of how I got my setup here. But we're going to go ahead and just close it out, and we'll start from the very beginning. And yeah. So let's come up here to create a new job file. And I'm just going to leave it at the full. I did it on a scrap, but whenever I design, I just leave it on the full 4x8 sheet. Doesn't really matter. We're going to hit OK. And this is the 4x8 sheet of MDF. So how I ended up getting that pattern was I actually got on. Well, first I was 3D designing it myself in a 3D program, and I was spending a lot of time on it. It's like, maybe there's got to be a little easier way to do this, because normally I like to try to build everything I can from scratch just for the fun of it. But because I was so busy, I jumped on Etsy and I found this right here. And I got it like on a sale like this. I think I've been paid less than that, but it's 94 wall panels with the 3D relief files for the CNC router, parametric patterns. So this is designed for this kind of a thing. So I bought that, and when I downloaded it, it came in a file like this, and I've got two files. So one's the JPEG and one's the relief files. And so the JPEG, these are the pictures. This is the one that and this is like, it looks like it's done like a hardwood. And then you have these folders here, and these are the relief files that match up with the pictures. So the pictures just give you the number, and then it tells you which relief file it corresponds with. So if we come in here to VCarve, I'm going to, so we've got, if you're brand new, this is kind of all the drawing side of the program, and here's all your tabs that you can get, you can access. And I'm going to go here to modeling, and we're going to go to open. And I believe if I go to this file under the relief, I think it's number 5. So I'm just opening this relief file, and VCarve Pro knows how to read these relief files. But when I bring it in, it's massive. And so here is that relief file. And if you go to 3D, you don't really see anything because it's massive. So let's shrink this guy down. I'm just clicking and dragging. And we'll just get it kind of close for now. Throw it somewhere here. Just for now. And if we go to 3D, you can kind of see like what it's trying to do. The problem is that it has no settings to go off of, so it's just kind of like deforming the whole, the whole thing. So, but that's all right. It's just kind of, it's the starting point. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to come to 2D view and to drawing. And I'm going to put this guy over here for a second. And let's just say we're going to make like 2 panels. And I'm just going to pick arbitrary sizes. So 10 by 22. And let's go ahead and create, let's go 25 in the X. I'm going to create another one just like that. So this is going to be like our 2 doors or whatever. And so let's actually, I'm going to hit move. And X position, let's do 11. I'm just going to get them close side by side. I don't want them too close because I want, the router bit to be able to go between the 2, but that's good enough. So I'm going to kind of click this guy over here. So what I did, it's kind of, there's no real secret to it, but there's a couple ways. So basically we're going to resize this inside of this area. And I don't really want, because there's like a lot of these triangles, I don't want to just make this thing the exact size, because then they're small and there are a lot of them and it takes a long time. And you could go to the, let's see, T. I believe if you hit T, I could resize this to that exact size. So like, what did I do? 10 by 22, something like that. And then if I move, it's like I zero it out. You could do something like this, and we haven't created any boundaries yet. So it's showing the whole vector size. We haven't well, I guess no, I did resize it to that. So that would be the whole door, but that's like a lot. You could do it that way. Or you could scale it up to, that's not what we wanted to scale up. You could scale this up, which is what I did in the example. And maybe, let me do this so we can see this better. We're going to make these red. Okay, so that way we can see the outline. So what I did is I scaled this up to where this was kind of more or less the, it was just cutting this section of the STL out for this one door. And so what I did was, if we go into modeling, I can click, well, if I get it, if I click this, and then I'm going to shift click that, the back, and I'm going to create a vector boundary. And then I'm going to right click, and I believe this is how we do it. We're going to apply the clipping. So now it basically just took the rectangle portion of that, and it basically just it didn't, cropped it out, or it's just rendering out or recognizing this part of it. Now it's still not really, the thickness or anything is not right. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up to properties here. This little, to me it looks like a black key, but maybe it's like a wrench. I don't know. And so when I was going about this, like I wanted just something super easy, a straightforward numbers to punch in, so I can do it over and over again. And so what I found was, because I have 3/4, material that I'm dealing with, I put, well, we don't want 5 inches, we want 0.5 inches on the, whoa, what was that? That kind of ran away from me. So 0.5 inches on the base thickness, and my reasoning for that is like if I wanted to do doors, I wanted to make it where I had hinge, I could put hinges on it, and the hinge holes wouldn't come through. And then on my shape height, we're just gonna put the remaining 1/4 of an inch. So that's kind of what I did, just to get the height. So it was just super straightforward. So 1/2 inch on the base, and then that remaining 1/4 inch on the top. So that means the very tip of these points is just the surface of that MDF. And then it's going to bring the shapes down into 1/4 of an inch down. And so you should still have like a 1/2 inch thickness on the meat side. And for me, I could play with this number, and whatever I mess around with here, you would just make up the difference on the 3/4 inches is what you've got to play with. And so whatever you do on the shape height, you just make sure to balance that out on the base height, vice versa. And that's literally all I did. And so to get a second one of that same kind of a deal, what you got to do is you actually got to make another copy. You got to copy. Let's see. My computer's kind of going slow on me here, but you got to make a copy of the one before of the one. I can't use that same one to clip another one. So we're going to do the same thing. And, I spent more time on mine lining up the, the edges. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in this video, so I just don't want to drag it out very long. But so I'm going to do the same thing. It created another sublayer for us, but I'm going to do, and I believe we can just do it like this. Let me try, if I'm close that out. And let's see. It actually might make me insert new level. I might actually have to do a new level. So let's put that on level 2. And now let's try to clip level 2. There we go. So I had to make 2 levels. So it's on its own level. Each clipping needs to be on its own level. But so we can see, here we go. That looks good. And, I didn't really spend a whole lot of time matching it up. You could do that in the, on your own time if you're going to do that. But now that I got here, it's literally, that's all I did on the setup. And then I come over here to my tool library, and I had to put that tool, that vortex tool, in my library. So that's the first thing, I had to do. What did I do? My ball nose. So I think it's this 1/4 inch ball nose. And these are, the settings that I had for that. And so that's what we're going to kind of use to do this. And it's very simple. Actually, what I'm going to do before I do anything here, I don't know why it made this big one. We're going to get rid of that. I think it's when I scaled it up, I forgot to delete it. But I'm actually going to let's see if I can get away with doing this. I'm going to right click both of these. And under the drawings, let's see if I can group these just for this to make it easier. So basically, if I do apply toolpath to one, I want it to do it to both of them just for time's sake. All right, so the first thing you do in any type deal like this is you want a roughing pass to get rid of most of the material. And then you want a finishing pass. And so the roughing pass, I think I used just a 1/4 inch end mill. Just a flat 1/4 inch end mill. I machined the model boundary. And I experimented with both of these. And 3D raster is definitely faster for me. So if I hit calculate, we can see that if I preview this, gives us a nice start. And then we will go to make sure we're still selected here. Let's go to the finishing tool pass. And this is that ball nose that I put in. Same deal, model boundary. I just left it I tried both of these, didn't really matter for me too much. I'm going to hit calculate, and then if I preview that, we can see that that gives us a pretty nice result there. And then from here, if we close this out, let's go back to the drawing, 2D. So now, when I have these selected, so actually no, I don't need to go back to the drawing. I need to go to here. So on my profile tool pass, we're going to do a cut depth of 0.75. I use my end mill 3/8 of an inch. We don't want to do it in 3 passes. We want to do it in 1. Outside on the vectors, and if we do the calculate, that's just going to give me my my cut throughs, so that way I can, you know, cut those out when I'm done. And so that's literally all I did, and I was kind of surprised at how simple, you know, it was to get a pretty clean result, you know. So in the future, I've got some really cool ideas that I'm working on, and you know, hopefully when I do them, I'll make some videos on those. But you know, VCarve is it's a wonderful program. I love it. It's just simple. You know, it's so simple for how fast you can get in and start doing cool stuff. So I always keep this program on hand. You know, even if you're a huge shop and you got like really sophisticated programs out there, it's nice to have something like this where you can just jump in and just like do something cool really quickly. Yeah, so I just exported the tool passes and sent it out to the machine, and yeah, you know, I think overall it turned out to be a pretty good, or I got good results from it. So anyway, you know, if you guys are out there using VCarve, so anyway, I'll leave it at that. You know, if you guys are out there using VCarve, keep it up, keep doing cool stuff, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.